today showing you the studio I've got for sale, which has been housed as a room within a room inside this perfectly normal double garage. So come on through. So here we've got the side door to our garage, and you can just see a tiny piece of the studio here, which is built within the framework of the garage itself, and it's completely freestanding. And you can see within a normal double garage we've got about a metre space here at the side. So we want to come on in, and it's quite hard to get a perspective on this in a garage because you can't get so far away from it, but you probably see here, this is the longest side of it. This is just over 5 metres long. And if the camera pans around the other side, you can get an idea that the shorter side there isn't much shorter. That's just over 4 metres long. So come on inside and have a look. So you've got an idea then as you come in about the kind of space that you've got here. It's a beautiful environment in which to have your band practices, and we've had a band playing in here every week for 6 years, and we've had a fantastic time in here. You can see, you get the idea if you look at the walls here, that it's actually built from these panels. So each panel is about 800mm wide, and the different sections of the panels around the room make up the actual structure of the room itself, and the ceiling also is made from the same kind of panels. The room internally, I've got the dimensions written down here, is 4.9 metres this way, and it's 4.1 metres that way, and the height is 2.2 metres. So you've got plenty of headroom even if your bass guitarist is a bit of a big guy. The acoustics in here are fantastic, and the reason for that is that each one of these panels, in fact maybe if you want to come and have a slightly closer look at one of the panels, each of these panels you can probably see on the video has got thousands of tiny holes in it, and those holes allow the sound to go inside the panel, but then inside the panel is probably about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of a kind of sound sponge, and so the sound goes in there, gets soaked up by the sound sponge and never comes out. So there's absolutely no reverb in here whatsoever, and the sound when you got your band playing is absolutely fantastic. You can really crank up the vocals, there's no feedback going on, and you get a beautifully balanced sound within the room. And it's also great for recording from that point of view as well. I think you've got an idea of the size just by us looking around here. You've got a guitar here and me to get a perspective on how big it is. If we want to have a look over here for a minute, give you an idea of the doors and windows. So the room comes with 2 doors. Each one is a separate unit which is sealed around the edge to stop any of the sound coming out. We've got one window unit here and another door unit here. We put 2 in so that if there was any sort of fire issue, then everybody could get out of a different door. Now, because of the way this is constructed with the different panels, the doors and the windows could be in any position. So for example, if this was in a room where you needed to be able to get through the room from one side to the other in order to pass through the entire building, you could position the doors at one end of the room and at the other end, and you'd still be able to have access through the room to the other side. The room itself is actually sealed from an air point of view, because even the tiniest hole, apparently the hole the size of a 50p piece, will actually let most of the sound out. So the room is sealed, but in order to prevent your band suffocating by the end of a band practice, then it's constructed with some airflow system. If the camera wants to just pan around here for a moment, you can probably see up here in the ceiling, here, and there's another one over here on the other side. There's 2 air inlets, well these are technically air outlets, in that housed in these 2 units are 2 very, very quiet fans which are gently drawing air through the studio. And if we want to pan around to this side, I'll just move this light out of the way. You can see down here and over here there are two air vents which allow the air to be drawn in. Now the air that comes through all four of these go through, we'll see on the outside later, go through a big metal casing with a range of baffles in it, a little bit like the way your exhaust pipe works. So as the air comes through, any sound that comes through with it or is passing out with it is curtailed by the baffles, and so again you don't get any leakage of sound through through those air vents. So that's the main things I think to tell you about the construction of the studio. Now you've probably seen around here, if we just want to pan around on this side, you can see I've wired in a range of electrical sockets. Clearly these won't come with the studio itself because it needs to be taken down as the individual panels. So I'll be taking the electrical system out, but it's a very easy job for you, an electrician, to run a ring main around the outside of here as we've done here. You can fit your own lighting. Again, we've done a similar thing with the lighting. We've installed a couple of 5 amp sockets here with 2 or 3 uplighters. You can put anything you want on the walls. Because of these holes here, you can very easily just screw different items into the wall. So just in a few places around the room we've screwed in guitar hangers and things like that, so you can put the things that you need around the room as you want. Now the floor, I think the floor when we take the studio apart will need to be taken up and thrown away because it's made from chipboard and it's all been glued together. But I want to show you the way in which the floor is made, because the idea is that on the ground of your garage or warehouse, wherever you put this, you have a layer of polythene. Then you have a layer of, we used 18mm chipboard, and I want to show you in the corner here the idea that you then have another layer of chipboard on top of that, which is what they call a floating floor. And the idea is that that top layer of chipboard floats on a series of neoprene strips which stop the vibrations from the floor passing through to the ground of your garage or warehouse. So we just take a little corner out here to show you. So you can see here that we've got the bottom layer of chipboard here. Then we've got, you can see here, one of these neoprene strips that the top layer sits on, so that's about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch high. And then the top layer of chipboard sits completely on these neoprene strips, and all vibration from the instruments on the floor inside the studio then is absorbed by these neoprene strips instead of being passed to the ground and therefore passed to the outside of the studio itself. So that's the way the floor part works. So let's pop that back. So the studio is a great place to rehearse. It's a beautiful, clean, fresh environment. It's acoustically brilliant. There's no reverb or anything. And one of the beauties is, if you're looking to put a studio into some sort of garage or warehouse kind of situation, you never know what's going to happen if you're going to move house, if you're going to find you need to rent somewhere different. The beauty with this is you can actually take it with you. It's going to be very easy to take this down and you can put it in the back of a lorry and transport it and put the same studio up in another location. Now this studio, if you were to buy it new today, would cost about £18,000. It was bought from Studio Spares in 2001. They tell me that yes, it would cost £18,000 now if you were to buy it new, and it's great value. We're currently offering it for £7,500 for you to buy directly from me. We're about to put it into storage because we're moving house, and unfortunately our new house we're not going to have room to keep it. But when it's sold, we can take it out of storage, we can arrange transportation to wherever you are and wherever you want to have it put up. So that's the studio in a nutshell. If you're really interested in listening further, I'll show those of you who want to look at the external dimensions and how it sits inside the ceiling void of your space, how it works. But if you've seen enough for now, then I hope you've enjoyed it. and if it's something that's of interest to you, then please do give me a call. Probably best to ring my mobile, which is 07747 806022, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you. And now, if you're interested in a little bit more detail, we'll just pass outside and look at some of the external dimensions. Now these are a little hard to remember, so I've written them all down. Right, from the outside, because clearly, you know, as we found here, actually fitting this in your space, sometimes the actual dimensions are quite critical. On the outside, the main dimension on this long side is 5.01 metres. That's literally 5 metres and 1 centimetre. On the shorter side, if you want to pan the camera around to the shorter side, on the shorter side here, then the dimensions are 4.15 metres. Now you will notice as we look at it, there's these fan units, which is that this is the baffle which the air passes through as it's drawn in to make sure you all stay alive. These stick out a little bit further, but obviously just in the location where they are. These stick out an extra 13 centimetres. So on this, on the long side, the 5.01 metre side, that makes the total length including this 5.14, and on the shorter side, when you include the baffle which we just passed by, that makes the dimensions 4.28. And finally, I want to just pop up onto the roof and show you how it sits inside the roof area. I'm going to get a ladder up to do that. I'll just grab the video camera and pop up the ladder. So if we have a look up here, and let's just let the video camera settle down its focus and its lighting, you can begin to see in the void here between the roof of our garage up here and the roof of the studio here, along the centre, that white line that you can see is a kind of steel girder which holds up the centre of the roof panels. Now that steel girder, steel beam, that is an extra 6 centimetres high. The main construction of the room itself, so the height you get to just here from the floor, is 2.24 metres. So you need 2.24 metres of height up to here, from the floor space up to the top here. You then have, running along the centre, an extra 6 centimetres for that girder that you can see. And then at one end you need an extra 16 centimetres for these two units here, which are the fans which draw the air through it, and the baffle system which the air passes through for the fans. So hopefully that's given you an idea of exactly how it fits into the space that you have. These cables here are for the electricity supply, but as a system for actually containing sound, it is fantastic. The only sound you get on the outside is just a very low boom thud kind of sound from the bass guitar and from the kick drum, and even that is really quite quiet. The whole of the vocals, the guitars and everything else are all completely controlled. So I hope you've enjoyed listening about the studio, and I look forward to hearing from you if you'd like to talk to me about the possibility to buy it. Thank you very much.